The only thing worse than pulling up to Chick-fil-A just to realize that it's a Sunday is avoiding these 7 running backs that I would bet my house on this fantasy season. Inside of today's video, we're going to be breaking down these 7 running backs in depth, and by the end of today's video, you will realize exactly why you want to be targeting these guys in every single one of your 2025 fantasy football drafts. If you guys are new to the channel, please make sure that you do hit that subscribe button down below if you do end up enjoying, and whether you are new to the channel or not, make sure to leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. So without further ado, let's get to 7 running backs that I would bet my house on this fantasy season. We begin with Bijan Robinson of the Atlanta Falcons, current sleeper ADP, running back number 2 at pick number 4. Now, Bijan Robinson had his best season in the NFL last season, where he finished as the running back 2 in terms of points per game. We all remember how his NFL career started with Arthur Smith and the Atlanta Falcons, and it didn't end up going well. A lot of people were super nervous to draft Bijan Robinson last year. They were quick to dismiss his play style, his ability on the field, just due to the fact that he had one down season in his rookie year with a complete and utter stooge as the head coach. Obviously, the head coaching position changes, and Bijan Robinson is able to whip up a top 3 season at the running back position. He was the RB3 in PPR and the running back 2 in terms of points per game, and I believe we are in for a very similar season in 2025, which is a big reason as to why a lot of fantasy analysts at this point have changed Bijan Robinson to be the running back number 1. Now, I still do have Saquon Barkley ranked ahead of him, but I do think if you're just talking about pure safeness, the pure condom wrap around your team at the running back position, I do believe Bijan might be a little bit safer than Saquon Barkley in that aspect. Now, if you look at Bijan Robinson's game log from last season, the final 3 games of the year were with new starting quarterback Michael Penix Jr., and in those 3 games, Bijan Robinson was the running back 8, the running back 3, and the running back 2. Now, some people might dismiss the week 18 game up against the Panthers because it's week 18. Not all the running backs are playing, but Bijan and the Atlanta Falcons were trying as hard as possible, and the man scored 31.3 fantasy points. So the upside for Bijan Robinson in any given game is that 30-plus point production that we saw last season. And Bijan finished the season incredibly well, considering the fact that he started off the season extremely cold, running back 19, 15, 20, 26, and then the running back 27. But after that, it was wheels up for Bijan Robinson. Michael Penix Jr. is definitely a great addition to this offense and makes the offense as a whole more dynamic, in my opinion. And with Bijan Robinson putting up better numbers with him compared to Kirk Cousins, I think that points in the right direction towards a dominant 50 Shades of Grey style season in 2025. Last year, he ranked 4th in terms of carries with 304. He ranked 3rd in rushing yards with 1,456. He is one of the best pass catching running backs in the NFL. We know how important that is in half PPR and full PPR leagues. He was 4th in targets, 3rd in receptions, 5th in receiving yards, and 6th in total touchdowns with 15. In terms of efficiency, he is very efficient as well. He isn't just one of these running backs that puts up huge numbers because they are getting a boatload of touches. He sees a boatload of touches and also takes big advantage of those opportunities. He is 10th in true yards per carry last season, 1st in yards created, 4th in dominator rating, 3rd in evaded tackles, and 17th in game script. I believe strongly that Bijan Robinson is one of the most talented running backs in the NFL. I believe that ever since he was in Texas coming in to the NFL with the Falcons. I know it was a swing and a miss in his rookie year, but you can blame it all on Arthur Smith. I believe in 2025, there is a strong possibility that he finishes as the running back 1. You know the amount of touches he's going to see game in and game out makes him incredibly safe. So I'm a huge fan of Bijan this season, and I'm going to continue to bang the drum for him all summer long. I think he is in consideration to be the 101, the 1st overall pick in your fantasy football drafts this year. Next up, we move to Bucky Irving of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, current sleeper ADP running back number 8 at pick number 19. So if you're in a 12-team league, he is the 7th overall pick inside of the second round. Now, earlier on in the summer, I was a little bit more pessimistic on Bucky Irving because they do have Rachaad White on the team. And frankly, while if you want to compare Bucky Irving to Rachaad White, it's like apples to oranges, right? I think Bucky Irving is way better than Rachaad White, but last season, the team was really heavily pushing the Rachaad White narrative. They were still utilizing Rachaad White a ton, despite the fact that Bucky Irving was hitting the defenses from the back, how you like that, game in and game out. But it recently came out that Bucky Irving's opportunities are likely to increase substantially this season, according to head coach Todd Bowles. Bowles says he expects greatness as the game has slowed down for Irving and he has improved his footwork and pass protection. If he's able to pass protect better, that will get him onto the field more. And Bucky Irving was doing a whole lot last season while being gifted just a little amount of the workload. If they give him the full allotment of touches, again, I know Rachaad White is still going to be the field, right? I don't think Rachaad White is going to magically disappear like he's got an invisibility cloak on, like he's John Cena, you can't see him, right? I don't think Rachaad White is going to go ghost in terms of that, but I believe based on what Todd Bowles is saying and based upon the ability, the skill set, the play of Bucky Irving last season, they are going to want to continue to utilize him more and more. If you look at the screen right now, there are 3 games highlighted in which Bucky Irving played 60+% of the snaps. In week number 6 up against the Saints, he was the running back 12. Week 18 up against the New Orleans Saints, he was the running back number 9, and up against the Commanders in the playoffs, he was the running back 6, scoring 16.3 points in that game up against the Commanders in the NFL playoffs. If you give the full workload to Bucky Irving, the ceiling is the moon. We saw a bunch of great performances out of him last year, and I think that is really just the beginning of what could be a great 3, 4, 5+ year stretch out of Bucky Irving. I think some people might panic because they have lost Liam Cohen. He is now the head coach of Duval with the Jacksonville Jaguars. But we have seen the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator role kind of shift basically every single year for the last couple of years. Baker has had so many offensive coordinators that it is crazy, and still the offense is able to move the ball very effectively with Baker. So I don't really think the change of offensive coordinator would bury Bucky Irving again, especially since the team believes that they need to get the ball into his hands more. He played 17 games last season and really only started in 3 games. He ranked 19th in carries, but he was 10th in rushing yards with 1,121, 15th in targets, 10th in receptions, 9th in receiving yards, and he scored 8 total touchdowns on the season. The reason why you want to be invested in Bucky Irving is very simple. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be a very solid offense yet again. The team has already outlined what they want to do. Todd Bowles said, we talked about it already, they want to feed the ball more to Bucky Irving. And the final kind of bullet point on this scenario is that Bucky Irving is incredibly efficient. 6th in true yards per carry, 5th in yards per touch, 3rd in juke rate, 6th in explosive rating, and 2nd in yards created per touch. If you look at another graphic that's going to be on your screen, it is running back rushing yards over expected per carry and yards after contact per carry in 2024. Bucky Irving is one of the best running backs in terms of this metric. He's a solid pass catcher. He's great at running in between the tackles. I believe heavily in this Buccaneers offense. And again, while I was a lot more pessimistic on Bucky Irving earlier on in the offseason process, with my confidence now that they're going to be peeling back the usage of Rachaad White, the ceiling is the moon for Bucky Irving to potentially finish as the running back 1 on the season, who you can get sometimes in the late 2nd round. And next up, we move to Joe Mixon, running back of the Houston Texans, sleeper ADP running back 19 at pick 48, currently coming as the last pick pick inside of the 4th round. A lot of the time, you'll be able to get Joe Mixon inside of the 5th round. If you guys have enjoyed today's video thus far, make sure you hit that subscribe button like it owes you some money. Leave a like on today's video. Now, he was the running back 17 last year in PPR, but he was the running back number 9 in PPR points per game. He had 4 straight top 12 points per game finishes in his career, from Cincinnati now to Houston, and in my opinion, it would have been 5 straight seasons with top 12 point per game finishes if he just played more games, if he was more healthy in 2020. Now, the reason why he only played 14 games last season was because he missed 3 games with a high ankle sprain. And a lot of people are pointing towards, hey, Joe Mixon ended up not finishing as strong towards the end of the season. And in my opinion, that could be because the high ankle sprain ended up leading to him wearing down, which really, in my opinion, has not been an issue for Joe Mixon in his career. Now, the addition of 9-inch Nicholas Chubb in the offseason might scare a lot of people, which confuses me because everyone and their mother was talking on Twitter, using their Twitter fingers, shitting all over Nick Chubb, taking a Cleveland steamer on the guy's chest as an homage to his former team with the Browns. And now, magically, because Nick Chubb is there is reason to fade Joe Mixon. You know what Joe Mixon is. Now, I still like Nick Chubb and think he's a fine pick in the late rounds. If something was to happen to Joe Mixon, you could see Nick Chubb scoring a bunch of touchdowns, even if he isn't the same Nick Chubb as in the past. But we have seen Joe Mixon continue to be the same guy year in and year out. Doesn't matter what team he's on. Doesn't matter how shit tier the Houston Texans offensive line is. And spoiler alert, they're really bad again. Joe Mixon is still able to put up consistent numbers. So if I can get a guy that has finished 4 straight seasons inside the top 12 at the running back position in terms of points per game as the running back number 19 off the board, why wouldn't I just do it again? A lot of the time, fantasy players overthink what they are doing. They are so heavily overthinking. Joe Mixon's getting a little bit old. Oh, their offensive line sucks donkey cock. Oh, they lost Tank Dell. They don't have Stephon Diggs. Everyone's going to panic, and then Joe Mixon's going to do the exact same thing he always does. Early on in the season before this injury, everyone was chortling the nuts of Joe Mixon. Everyone was saying, Nick, you're such a genius for telling me to draft Joe Mixon. So just do it again. Just do it again. Just do it. Shout out to Nike. 14 games played last season, 13th in carries, 15th in rushing yards, 15th in targets, 24th in receptions, 20th in receiving yards, and 8th in total touchdowns with 12. If you're thinking, Nick, I don't think Joe Mixon still got it. He's old, this, that, and the other thing. He was 2nd in dominator rating, 8th in yards per reception, and 3rd in defenders in the box. They were loading the box up. They were jamming it into the box, Bonnie Blue style, and still we saw that Joe Mixon was able to put up these great numbers. If you look at this graphic from Fantasy Points Data, how valuable was each team's backfield across the 2024 fantasy season by expected fantasy points? The Lions, Dolphins, Buccaneers, and Saints had the most total opportunity available. Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon, and Devon Achane were the biggest bell cows. Again, they bring in Woody Marks, they bring in Nick Chubb, but I still strongly believe that it is Joe Mixon's season. A lot of people love to draft the same players that have fucked them in the ass, metaphorically, of course, year in and year out. But for some reason, everyone's ready to fade Joe Mixon, who just continues to put money into your metaphorical fantasy football account. Keep drafting him. Don't overthink it. Joe Mixon season yet again. Next up, we got another old geezer that everyone continues to diminish every single year. James Conner, running back of the Arizona Cardinals, sleeper ADP running back 20 at pick 50 for the 5.6. But before we talk about James Conner some more, the rest of the running backs that I would bet my house on this fantasy season, I would like to give you guys a quick word for our friend and our partner over at Underdog. Underdog has a great offer for you guys today. If you sign up using promo code Notorious or by clicking on the link in the video description, you'll receive a free pick plus a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Underdog is the best place to do best ball fantasy football drafts this summer. The best part about best ball is it's the draft and that's it. There's no waivers, no trades, no in-season management. Underdog automatically puts the highest scores into your lineup at the end of every single week. Underdog is home to best ball mania. $15 million in total prizes, $2 million to first place, $1 million to second place, just $25 to enter. If you're looking for contests at smaller entry fees, Underdog also has that as well. It's a great place to do some drafts and prepare for your 2025 fantasy football home league draft. So make sure you guys check it out, promo code Notorious, or by clicking on the link in the video description. Back on into things here with James Conner. Cardinals running back James Conner during last season signed to a 2-year, $19 million extension. Remember that, because while a lot of people are Trey Benson enjoyers, and rightfully so, I think Trey Benson's a fine running back, but Trey Benson is the backup for James Conner. It would take James Conner getting injured, knock on wood, we don't root for injuries, for James Conner to get surpassed by Trey Benson. You do not sign James Conner to a 2-year extension if you believe that Trey Benson's just magically going to take up all of the touches. And head coach of the team, Jonathan Gannon, said running back James Conner is getting himself ready to carry the load again. So everything is outlined for you. They gave him the contract and they want to give him a big workload. So why are we drafting him as the running back number 20? Because people overthink things. Running back 11 last year, running back 15 in PPR points per game. He has now had 4 straight seasons with 15 plus PPR points per game: 2024, 2023, 2022, and 2021. He played 16 games last year, and he had 6 games inside of the top 12, and he had 8 games with over 16 PPR points. And this was an Arizona Cardinals offense that was incredibly uninspiring last season. An offense that was in need of a Viagra. An offense that could not get it up. Marvin Harrison Jr. looked like John fucking Brown out there, right? It was not Marvin Harrison Jr. So I believe the offense has the ability to get even better, and James Conner has that upside to game in and game out, potentially whip up a top 5 finish as the running back number 1, like he did in week number 15 up against the New England Patriots. The only argument that anyone can make against James Conner, in my opinion, that makes remote sense is that James Conner misses time. And I get that, right? He might not play the full 17 games. He might miss a game or 2. He's getting older, and that's fine. Because guess what? I don't have to draft James Conner as a top 12 running back. I don't have to draft him in the first 4 rounds. I'm getting him in the middle of round 5. So in my opinion, the injury risk that James Conner has for a lot of people is completely mitigated by the fact that he is going as late as he is in drafts. Last season, he was 14th in carries, 11th in rushing yards with over 1,000 rushing yards, 11th in targets, 10th in receptions, 6th in receiving yards, 9 total touchdowns, 14th. So James Conner, still, even though he's getting older, even though people are acting like the guy needs a crutch to walk, right? He needs to hop in one of those scooters that you see the fat people ride around at Disney. James Conner is still putting up solid numbers. He's still a great pass catcher as well. 20th in true yards per carry, 11th in yards per touch, 1st in juke rate, 5th in explosive rating, and 6th in yards created per touch. So the same argument I just made about Joe Mixon, the exact same as James Conner. Every single year, we try to make some type of metaphorical argument. We put our tinfoil hat on and we say, oh, this is finally the time that James Conner is finished. This is finally the time where Joe Mixon is going to rinse you, right? This is finally the time where Tom Brady falls off. And they were saying that 10 fucking years ago. Now, I'm not some Tom Brady gawk 9000er. I hate Tom Brady, right? but you got to respect the game. And I'm not saying that James Conner is Tom Brady, but it's the same type of deal where everyone continues to talk down on the guy, and then he just shows up, right? He just shows up and does his job. So once again, James Conner is a great value in fantasy drafts. Speaking of value, we got Isaiah Pacheco of the Kansas City Chiefs. Sleeper ADP running back 23. Shout out Michael Jordan at pick number 63. Now, there are going to be people that don't walk to the comment section. They're running into the comment section and they are yelling aggressively in the comment section. Nick, I drafted Isaiah Pacheco last season and I've been walking with a limp ever since then. Isaiah Pacheco stole all my lunch money and he gave me a swirly in the toilet. Isaiah Pacheco hung me from my underpants from a flagpole like one of those vintage middle school movies, right? He gave me the cheese touch. Shout out to Greg Heffley from Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Isaiah Pacheco was a bust last season. He was a big, fat bust. He was terrible. If you had drafted him, you were down bad. Now, can one fantasy pick completely ruin your season? No, it can't. So if you draft Isaiah Pacheco, you could have won, but it certainly hurt like a butt cheek on a stick based upon where he was getting drafted. But now he is falling down draft boards. Isaiah Pacheco is in a running back room with Kareem Hunt, Rashad Smith, who a lot of people like, but Rashad Smith didn't have high NFL draft capital, and it takes those players time to take over. Now, I get what you might be thinking. Nick, Isaiah Pacheco doesn't have high draft capital either. I get it. But Isaiah Pacheco, in my opinion, is very clearly their guy for week number 1. They've got Elijah Mitchell, Carson, stop the steal as well on the team. But you know damn well, week 1, Pacheco will be the guy. This is Pacheco's job to lose. And I think once we get into training camp, I think as we get closer to August, there's going to be a lot of more positive reports about Pacheco. Oh, Nick, would you look at that? Pacheco looks like himself. Oh, would you look at that? Pacheco, the guy who fucking broke his fibula, his lower leg in week 2, and came back and didn't look good. Shocker. Oh, he looks fine now, basically a year removed from that injury. Wow. Owen Wilson, right? Wow, what a shocker, right? That's going to shock people. It shouldn't, though, right? I know, last year was a disaster. It was really bad. But 2023, he was the running back 14 in terms of points per game. Now, I know the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl, and everyone was praying on their downfall. They were dancing on their grave. Hoorah, hit the gritty on their grave. And rightfully so, people hate the fucking Chiefs. They do. But Isaiah Pacheco is still on one of the best offenses in the NFL. He's on a team that is much more committed to run the football compared to prior seasons because the league is just playing too high safety. They're trying to lock up guys like Pat Mahomes to throw away the key. So they are comfortable running the ball more. And his competition is Rashad Smith, Kareem Hunt, Elijah Mitchell, and Carson Steele. Are we really going to just duck and cover because of one bad season? He started off the year as the running back 20 and the running back 16. 15.8 plus points in both games. Now again, did he even live up to the hype based upon those finishes? No, but you know the upside is there when it comes to Pacheco, and you're getting him as the running back number 23 inside of the 6th round. Again, I get you can make all of these talking points. He came back and he wasn't good. He came back and they're still giving the backfield to Kareem Hunt. He came back and couldn't even muster 10 plus fantasy points. But in my opinion, we were just getting a little bit too aggressive with Pacheco. And when he came back, I said, you know what? There's a chance that he could end up figuring things out. He fucked up his leg. I'm as much of a doctor as Johnny Sins. It didn't go well. But we know that if you're the running back 1 on one of the best offenses in the NFL, that is incredibly, incredibly valuable. I get Pacheco doesn't have that prime Austin Eckler on the LA Chargers pass catching ability. I get he's not Christian McCaffrey at catching passes, but he's on a team that wants to run the ball with 10, 12, 15 plus total touchdown upside, and you're getting him falling because people are worried about his injury. I really do believe that once we start getting more reports, his ADP is going to move up at a rapid rate. Next up, we got Quinshon Judkins of the Cleveland Browns, sleeper ADP running back 24 at pick number 68. One pick off of being very nice, I like, at pick number 69. Now, if you don't know who Quinshon Judkins is, rookie running back out of Ohio State, 36th overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft, meaning he was an early pick inside the second round. Now, he did play at multiple schools in college, which is just something we have to become a lot more accustomed to with guys transferring left and right. He transferred to Ohio State in 2024 after being at Ole Miss in 2022 and 2023. He played 16 games with Trayvon Henderson on his team, who is a heavily talked about fantasy football commodity as well, who played at Ohio State. Now he's on the Patriots with Ramondre Stevenson. 194 rushes for 1,060 yards and 14 touchdowns, 22 receptions for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, I do believe that the receiving upside is higher for him than those stats would show off because Henderson was on the team. So we didn't get to fully see the utilization of Judkins, what he would have been if there was no Henderson on Ohio State. His best season was actually his freshman year at Ole Miss in 2022. 274 rushes for 1,567 yards and 16 touchdowns, with 15 receptions for 132 yards and a tug in the receiving department. Now, if you look at the running back room, they drafted Dylan Sampson. They still have my boy Jerome Ford, F-150. They got rid of Nick Chubb. He's in Houston. We talked about him already. And they got A.O. Pierre. You want to come out here? Strong on the team as well. To me, there is a very easy way. You close your eyes. You think, Nick, who's the running back one? Is it Ford? Is it Sampson? Is it Judkins? Is it fucking Pierre? Pierre, the Frenchman? No. It's Quinshon Judkins. It's very easy to imagine that. Now I get the running back, or the running back situation is fine, right? He's clearly the running back one in my opinion. The quarterback situation is bad. It's bad news bears, but we know that Quinshon Judkins can, at least in my opinion, perform even without the team being all that amazing. I think the team offensively will be just fine, regardless of who they end up rolling out there at quarterback. Judkins is the kind of guy that can take any carry, any reception to the crib. Doesn't matter if you're on your own 1-yard line or if you're on the goal line. I think Quinshon Judkins can do it all. And the rookie fever, in my opinion, isn't even in full effect yet. So once we start getting a lot more positive reports about Judkins, just like Pacheco, I can definitely see him rising upboards. But at the same time, a lot of people will be nervous because he's on the Browns and they'll fade him. Like we've never seen running backs on shitty teams be good before, right? That's never happened, right? Can't think of any examples of that. Quinshon Judkins, steal right now inside of the 6th round. Final guy to discuss is Tyjae Spears. We're going to the back of the draft. Sleeper ADP running back 40 at pick 119. The 11th pick inside of the 10th round. Coach Speak Index tweets on Twitter or X. Head coach Brian Callahan on Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears. I think in a perfect world, it's a healthier division of labor. I like, really, both of those players a lot. I think we can do a better job of managing the load so they both play a little bit more evenly. Now, some people might be getting the alarm sounding. Beep, beep, wee, woo, wee, woo, wee, woo. Didn't Brian Callahan say that last year, Nick? Yeah, he kind of did. So I'll take it with a grain of salt. So even if it's not more of a 50-50 scenario, Tyjae Spears, I think, is an elite handcuff. But, and there's a big but, shout out to Kate Upton, if that does not happen, if it's more of that very healthy split between the two because they want to keep Tony Pollard safer, right? They don't want to get him injured, then Tyjae Spears could really whip off, in my opinion, rip off a top 24 season. 12 games played. He missed 3 games with the hammy, 1 with his first concussion in week 11, and 1 with the week 17 concussion. He was the running back 24 on the season, running back 39 points per game. But I don't really think those finishes matter. What to me matters is his efficiency, 16th in juke grade, 11th in yards created per touch, but also in games where Tyjae Spears saw 10-plus touches. Not where he saw 15-plus touches, not where he saw 20-plus touches, not where he's like some bell cow running back, where he saw 10-plus touches. In the first game, week 4 up against the Dolphins, Pollard's in that game, 11.9 PPR points. Week 10 up against the Chargers, Pollard's also in that game, 8.1. Week 15 versus the Bengals, with Pollard, 27.2 PPR points. Week 16 also with Pollard, 21.6 PPR points. At week 17 without Pollard, 13.3 PPR points. So in my opinion, Tyjae Spears, if you're in a deeper league or if you're down bad at running back, someone's hurt or, your flexes are on bye, you can throw Tyjae Spears into the flex. And you're getting him as the RB40. But he also, if something was to happen to Tony Pollard, could be a top 18, top 24 back on an offense that I think could be very good under Brian Callahan, but was heavily handicapped by the fact that Will Levis fucking has shit for brains. It's like that gif of Homer Simpson where they show his brain and it's a monkey hitting those whatever those things are called, the percussion, the drums, whatever those things are called. He's sitting in there with the monkey thing. That is what I believe was holding back Tyjae Spears. The touches and the fact that Will Levis sucks ass. So Cam Ward, much better than Mr. Will Levis. I think the upside of this offense is a lot higher this year. I believe in Brian Callahan. I was a big believer in Brian Callahan last year. I thought maybe he could fix Will Levis. I don't think anyone could fix Will Levis, but I do think that Tyjae Spears getting the correct amount of touches could pop off any given week for 25 plus points. He's a great handcuff with a lot more upside if he is given a more 50-50 split with him and Tony Pollard. So thank you guys all so much for watching. If you did end up enjoying, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below like it owes you some money. Leave a like on today's video to help me out a ton. If you want to follow me on Twitter or X, please do so at NotoriousFantasy. I love you long time. Make sure you check out Underdog as well. Link in the video description. Check out one of the videos on your screen if you haven't seen them already. Have a great one. And as always, good boy.